Hello, and thank you for tuning in to Millennium Movies. In today's film study, we're going to look at Steven Spielberg's Jurassic Park.
It's a dinosaur.
So when I hear discussions about this film, I'm always surprised that no one ever brings up that this is an Academy Award-winning film. It won Oscars for sound effects editing, and visual effects. The creative team behind the latter department really broke ground for use of CGI technology, which really made for a smooth blend of practical effects and CG animation, specifically that T-Rex, which was also purposely shot mostly during night because darkness tends to make up for any hiccups that might occur with CG, and that makes sense considering it was still in some of its early stages. And on the sound, the raptors sound great, and so do their menacing footsteps. An underrated value of the film is actually its camera operation. I mean, Steven Spielberg is completely in his element here. One could even say he
spared no expense.
The script is brilliant too, which was penned by David Koepp and Michael Crichton, who's actually the author of the 1990 book that inspired the movie. When speaking of great writing, look no further than one of the earliest scenes where Dr. Grant is teaching that little kid a lesson, which initially seems inconsequential, but when you pay attention to the dialogue, it ends up getting called back to not only once, but twice in pivotal scenes.
You get your first look at this 6-foot turkey as you enter a clearing. He moves like a bird, lightly bobbing his head. And you keep still because you think that maybe his visual acuity is based on movement, like T-Rex, and he'll lose you if you don't move. But no, not Velociraptor. You stare at him, and he just stares right back. And that's when the attack comes, not from the front, but from the side.
It also spawned some of the most iconic quotes in all of cinema.
Hold on to your butts.
Life, finds a way.
When you gotta go, you gotta go. That is one big pile of shit.
Okay, so most of those are just Jeff Goldblum, but come on, his character is awesome. And speaking of characters, the ones in this movie are so well written and especially well cast. From the lead trio of Dr. Grant, Dr. Sattler, and Dr. Malcolm, to even some of the side characters like Gennaro, Nedry, and Muldoon. One of the things I appreciate is they're given plenty of scenes to play off one another and let their mix of personalities shine through their interactions.
God creates dinosaurs. God destroys dinosaurs. God creates man. Man destroys God. Man creates dinosaurs.
Dinosaurs eat man. Woman inherits the earth.
Most commendable on the writing, though, has to be the consistency of their attitudes. No one at any point acts out of character, and even more genius is the way Spielberg manages to bring out character through something as chaotic as an action set piece. Take, for example, the first T-Rex attack. It's not just a fun sequence, it's also a fantastic showcase for who these characters have shown themselves to be. Let's look at how the three characters approach the enormous obstacle at hand. The minute the T-Rex approaches the same space as Gennaro, the same blood-sucking lawyer who couldn't see the dangers of putting humans in such close proximity to dinosaurs because he was blinded by profit, instantly panics and leaves to hide in a weak restroom shack. A feeble move that ends up costing him his life. Then there's Dr. Grant, the person with the highest degree of experience and wisdom in the film. He remains calm and smart with his approach, using the flare just enough to gain the dino's attention and tosses it while remaining still. It's strategic, and it does appear as if it's going to be effective for a split second. Until we get to Dr. Malcolm.
Hey! Ian, freeze!
The eccentric, charismatic sort of wild card whose heart is in the right place, but acts in a recklessly bold manner by running with his flare, which keeps the T-Rex on him and nearly gets him killed in his attempt to give Grant a chance to rescue the kids. And lastly, on character work, I love how throughout many points in the film, Dr. Grant states and professes how he doesn't like or even wants kids, and at first he avoids Tim and Lex at all cost. But when push comes to shove, he, the least likeliest of all, is the one tasked to keep them alive, and in doing so, grows to genuinely care for them. This is just one of the many examples of character growth you can find in Jurassic Park. Next, I want to talk about how Spielberg masterfully builds tension and how each moment like that gets a great payoff. You have all the raptor scenes, with the kitchen sequence being the most nail-biting of them all. The way they manage to open the door, the terrifying clacking of their claws on the floor, their communication, which is where that award-winning sound effects editing comes into play, and the way it's shot makes you feel like you're being locked in a cage with a starved animal. And the kids are. There's the visual clues of the T-Rex being near, leading into a tense chase, or using the same camera operation I mentioned earlier to heighten the sense of urgency when Ellie is about to turn the fence electricity back on, and it becomes a race against time for a moment, where Tim basically either can safely or not get safely off the fence, which he sorta does. But there's also moments of levity where the audience is allowed to breathe, like Alan and the kids feeding one of the gentle giants in the Brachiosauruses, showing that some of the life on this island aren't inherently vicious. The movie also has some great death scenes, like Karma catching up with Nedry. But hey, finally some payback for giving Jerry such a hard time, huh?
Because the mail never stops. It just keeps coming and coming and coming. There's never a let-up. It's relentless. Every day it piles up more and more and more, and you gotta get it out. But the more you get out, the more it keeps coming in. And then the barcode reader breaks, and it's Publishers Clearinghouse. All right.
And finally, my only complaint about this film is its off-screen death of Sam Jackson's character Arnold. I mean, come on, you gotta give the legend a better death than just a decapitated arm. But that's been today's video. If you enjoyed this film study, please let me know in the comment section, and feel free to tell me about your favorite moments or lines, because I do try and respond to everyone. But until next film study, where I cover Stranger Things, this has been Millennium Movies, and I will see you all very soon.